I've recently been enjoying spawn proofing all of my builds on my island with lichen, but it takes absolutely forever to manually farm this stuff. So in today's episode, we are going to build a greenhouse over in the farming district to house an automatic lichen farm to speed up that collecting process. And as a bonus, we are going to finally fight the wither using all of the wither skeleton skulls that we collected from the skeleton farm in the last episode. The very first thing that I want to do is head over into the farming district and pull up our schematic. That way we can try to figure out a perfect location for this that isn't completely blocked from view and also doesn't interrupt too many sightlines. For example, I kind of like how these chicken coops you can see behind the barn and a little bit above this roof right here, so I wouldn't want to put the greenhouse behind it because it would block that sightline. So I'm thinking somewhere right over here on the beach is currently our best bet. I think it balances out our coal factory very nice, still leaves room to see all of the chicken coops above the barn, and there's currently this nice clearing so you can see the greenhouse through all of the trees. So I think that this is going to be our best location so far. But before we can jump straight into building this, we first off have to take out all of the cacti right here. This has been my temporary growing station, just because we don't need too much cactus at the moment. And now that we have all of our cacti, you'll also notice that this is kind of a slightly weird terraforming situation at the moment. So I think I'm going to unrender our schematic for now, exchange our cactus for a couple piles of dirt, and then we can go ahead and start terraforming. This terraforming project was actually pretty easy. I just made a nice layer of dirt, making sure that there was enough space to place the build on top of it. And speaking of the build, we're probably going to need some resources for that, since currently I've only got some dirt and sticks in my inventory. So I think it's time that we kick it off into this video's resource gathering montage. Most of my resources are usually in my chest, but this build in particular, I had to collect a lot of random plants, which was expected because it's a greenhouse. I did, however, have to collect quite a bit of wood, so a tree farm is definitely something that I would like to add to this world in a future episode. And as for the plants that I was collecting, I ended up having to replace a few plant variants that I had in my original design because I didn't have them available anywhere near me in my hardcore world, unfortunately. But no matter what plants or flowers we put in here, either way, this greenhouse is going to be lush and very cute. I'm actually super excited to get started on this build. It's a little bit different than all of our other designs just because it is mostly made of glass, and I'm super excited to get your guys' opinions on it. So since we have all of our resources available to us right here, let's jump straight into building the very first half of our greenhouse. And now that we are about halfway through our greenhouse here, it is just about time that we start taking our break for our quality of life section of this episode. So if I put all of our materials away for just one moment, then I can grab ourselves those 3 wither skeleton skulls. Because like I was saying earlier in this video, our quality of life section today is going to be to defeat the wither. And I believe that I've mentioned this in a couple of episodes, but just in case you're unaware, the reason that I want to defeat the wither is of course so we can get that nether star. Then with that nether star, I can make a beacon, which I can then use in a copper farm build. Because essentially there's not really a great way of AFKing copper farms, so you have to manually be there punching things. And in hardcore mode, that can be a little risky because you might starve to death. But if you put a beacon on, I believe, regeneration, then you don't starve. So to fight the withers so that we can build a copper farm and no longer have to mine all of that copper manually for our builds, let's grab a few materials here. First off, I'm just going to grab a couple of spare blocks, some glass bottles so we can make some potions. I've already made a couple of awkward potions, and I believe that if I add a blaze powder to this, that will make me a couple potions of strength. Now unfortunately I somehow don't have a gas tier. Out of all the gas I killed last episode, none. So we won't be able to make a potion of regeneration that I believe. So hopefully these strength potions should do the trick. And to get that regeneration factor, I'm thinking we just take a couple of apples here, along with our gold, and make a few of those. Next, of course, we're going to need that soul soil, or soul sand. I actually can't remember, so I'm going to bring both just in case. And then we may as well grab what little torches we have, a bucket of water, and then if we head down into the regular skeleton farm, we can grab a few more arrows just for in case we need them. And then the very last thing I would actually like to bring is some eggs. And that is because I believe that when the wither kills any entity, including our chickens in this case, I'm pretty sure that gives us wither roses, which we need for our wither skeleton farm still. So we might as well kill 2 birds with 1 stone, or 1 wither and a lot of chickens. So now that we are ready for our adventure, I think I'm going to start by heading down to our regular skeleton farm and just making ourselves a tunnel off to the side. Then all I've got to do is build a really long tunnel. And then so you guys can see this a little better, I turned off my shaders and then turned on full brightness. That way you're not a little bit confused as to what is happening. So now I think what I want to do is make a little hole right here that I can put some chickens in. Now we really didn't get that many chickens out of this, so we won't be getting too many wither roses, but I actually do think that's okay because it's not terribly a huge priority right at the moment. So if we start setting up our wither, then we can put some of the heads on there. And before we get started, I want to make sure I pop this potion of strength just so I don't forget it. And if we get the rest of our things ready, I think that's kind of all we need. It's mostly just that in case I have to water bucket clutch or somehow light myself on fire, and I might as well eat some golden apple before we get started. So if we put the 3rd one on there, we can officially launch the wither, and I believe he is in bow mode the first half of his life, and hopefully my bow is good. So let's, oh, it's really good. Okay. Uh-oh, he's getting a little close though. We can keep him back with the bow, and then I believe we're supposed to transition into sword mode in the second half, which we're getting withered a little bit, but it looks like my armor and that strength potion are really helping. Oh, and there we go. The nether star is officially ours. I am shaking still with wither a little bit, but that was actually not as hard as I was thinking it was going to be. There is sadly some raw chicken, but there's also a bunch of wither roses there for us. And I would say that was actually really successful. I don't think I've ever officially or efficiently defeated the wither, so I'm actually kind of proud of that. Also, I'm just now seeing some lava drops right here, so I'm glad the wither did not hit that. Then I'm just going to go ahead and put that nether star as well as those wither roses away for safekeeping, as I don't actually want to do anything with those at the moment. But now that we have officially defeated the wither and cleaned out our inventory, it is about time that we start heading back to our building of the greenhouse. So I'll grab all of our building materials again, and then we will go ahead and get started on the second half of this build. And with that, our greenhouse is officially complete. But before I can give you guys a tour of the inside, I have one last thing that we need to complete to make this farm as efficient as possible. So first off, let's grab some iron from the iron farm, turn that into some shears. Then we can grab all of our books that we have and all of our emeralds, which apparently is not that much. Let me trade for a little bit here. And then we can make our way over to the library, where, as you guys can probably guess by now, we are grabbing a couple of enchanted books for our shears. So what I'm looking for is Mending, Efficiency 3, and Unbreaking 3. I think I only have this Unbreaking 2, so we'll just get 2 of those to combine together. So now if we head over into our toolsmith, we can use the anvils that are upstairs to put both of our Unbreaking 3 books together, and then we can combine all of our books together as well so that we can just put them on the shears for 11. And as with all of my tools, if you guys have any fun names for the shears, let me know in the comments. But now that we have our shears all completely enchanted and set up, we can now head back over to the greenhouse and give you guys the official tour of the insides. So there's actually 2 entrances to this greenhouse. The first one is right over here. You can head straight through the middle. Oh my goodness. No. How did I not see those the first time? I'm pretty sure I walked right past them. Anyways, I will fix that in a moment. But the second entrance is actually over on this side beneath the tower, which is the one that I'm going to use to start the tour. So you walk in, and first off, you are in this kind of separated, closed off space. This is for like any dark plants that you would like to grow, just because it's all tinted in here and covered with some vines. I originally had some mushrooms that were brown and red on both sides. I could place them when I was in my creative testing world, but I couldn't place them in this hardcore world. I'm not exactly sure why, so if you guys know, let me know. And actually, before we head out into the main greenhouse, I do want to show you guys the second floor because that is where this vine leads. So when you get up through the trapdoor, you can flick that down. There's not really much over in this corner, but you can go all the way up the staircase. I'll show you that in just a second. But the second floor is mostly just these little balance beams right across to the top of here. You can kind of look down in each one of these rooms. Not much to it, just kind of a cool floor. And if you go up the staircase to the tower, this one I actually was kind of excited about because I have placed each one of the types of saplings that we have. We're missing 2 of them, but the rest of them are now right here safe and sound. I just figured it was kind of a cool feature and a good way to protect our saplings just so we don't have to go exploring the world for them again if we lose them. And now heading all the way back down to the very first floor, which is our main attraction. You can come through this door and you're greeted by this cute little centerpiece that I made with the big drip leaf and some potted plants on top. We have a ton of different sections for plants, so we've got some roses over here, some lilacs over here, sunflowers in these little pots, and of course some bushes and some bamboo back in the corner. And there is one thing that I forgot in here, I'm realizing. All of these little gutters right here are actually supposed to be full of water. So if I grab some buckets, we can fix that really quick. And just like that, I believe we should have all of these sections all filled up with water, meaning that all of our plants are kind of slowly getting fed through this irrigation system in the floor. Again, that's probably not how that really works, but it's my Minecraft version, so it's fine. So back to the tour. I believe the only thing missing is this dark, mysterious corner that's covered by all the leaves and the vines. And that is because redstone's kind of ugly. So I hid our actual lichen farm right over here. I've already tested it out and probably have enough glow lichen for a few episodes. But essentially what this is all of these dispensers are aiming into this hole right here, which already has some lichen, and if I flick this lever, it will start dispensing all of this bone meal here into the center, which grows the lichen some more. And I just edited the wither section, so I'm going to learn from my mistakes and turn down my sounds. So if we flick this lever right here, you can see it's kind of starting to dispense. It's actually not going to dispense any of the bone meal until it needs some in the center, which is good because then we're not wasting a bunch. But then if I just aim down here, I put an obsidian block beneath me so that I don't break it by accident. But as you can see, we gather lichen very, very quickly. And I believe it's just barely started using some of that bone meal. So overall, I am actually very happy with this. And we can replace my old, broken a little bit shears that I was testing with our brand new, shiny and enchanted shears. Those ones are way more efficient. And I am very happy with how both that farm turned out. Maybe not this little creeper hole, but I believe the farm turned out and the building turned out very, very well. So I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video, and if you did, consider subscribing because I would love to see you guys in the next episode. And speaking of next episodes, here's a couple that I think that you would enjoy.